Good evening and welcome to Pack Homer Pod, Season 3, Episode 8. It's been a little while. Here tonight with my buddy Adam, and our buddy Wesley is still missing in action. We don't know what happened to him.
He's still on leave of absence, and he's on indefinite leave right now.
Yeah, I think he's
Kind of like the whole pod was for a couple weeks.
Yeah, we had to take a little break. I lost my boys for a week after Tallahassee, and then life happened. We got busy. It was Easter, but appreciate those of you that's reached out and said, when are you guys going to do it again? So it makes you kind of feel good that somebody was listening enough to realize that we skipped a week. Or has it been 2 weeks? I don't know. We skipped a little bit. We took a little hiatus.
Well, you did one by yourself. When was that?
That was after the Florida State series. That series ended on March 22nd. So yeah, it's
somewhere in the midst of our 7-game skid. We decided that we were going to take a leave leave of the pod.
Yeah, might have been after the Campbell game I did the last one. I don't know. Anyway, we're not going to talk in depth about any of those games we missed. We will mention we lost to Campbell in the midweek. I think Campbell's actually having a pretty dang good year. Not a loss.
Here we go.
That killed us in the RPI. Oh, I know. I just I'm not. Campbell is I think 64 in the RPI, which is kind of right where we're at. We're 54 now, and I think they're 14-1 in their conference. Anyway, not that we want to excuse losing to Campbell, Adam, I understand. But then we went down to Georgia Tech, got swept at Georgia Tech. The one thing I will say about that series, I mean, it just crushed me that we pitched so good, especially in game 1 and 2 with Marrone and Duden. And if you watch those games, Marrone gave up a home run that the wind was blowing out like a gazillion mile an hour. They had a pop up to right, and it ended up losing that game 3-1. And Ryan was really, really good. And then the next night, the game that we lost 6-4 in game 2, I think at one time in that game, Georgia Tech had 8 hits and 7 of them were infield hits. Does that sound right?
I didn't watch any of it. I was gone, so
yeah, that's right. You were overseas.
I was all scheduled for being able to watch, so I was just following the box scores.
Anyway, we didn't play well defensively down there. Everything that they put in play was ruled a hit. Some of those we didn't really agree with. Kind of inflated some ERAs. And then in day 3, they just beat the hell out of us. They beat us 10-0, and we never really got it going. Then we come home in the midweek, and we got Liberty beat late, and they come back and beat us 7-5. That one hurt too. Jackson Lucas, ex-Wolfpacker, pitched in that game for Liberty, but they threw a whole host of guys. Liberty actually is 32 in the RPI. But anyway, no excuse losing to Liberty and Campbell, and then swept by Georgia Tech. Then came home this weekend, Adam, and swept Notre Dame. Game 1, another just great Friday night from Marrone, or Thursday night actually. Played Thursday night from Marrone, kind of the Marrone-Nance combination that we kind of come accustomed to seeing. And then in game 2, I think try to give Duden a little extra rest after going long the week before. I think he was 115 pitches the week before at Georgia Tech. And we were playing on a Friday instead of his normal Saturday. So we went with Andrews and Consiglio in game 2. Won again 7-3. Luke Nixon hit a home run in both those games. And Andrews and Consiglio were pretty dang good for us. We beat them 7-3. And then game 3 on Saturday, probably the best start of Duden's career, I'd say. The final line, I think, was 7 2/3, 117 pitches. I think somewhere around pitch 100, he hit 99 on the radar. I mean, he hit 99 several times on Saturday. But we did everything we could to squander that game. Literally, we were up 5-1.
It was brutal.
5-1 going into the top of the ninth. Notre Dame scored 5 runs. We went down 6-5. Lead off the ninth, bottom of the ninth. I mean, if you're going to be down a run, we had the top of the lineup there for us, and Rhett come up and scorched the ball into center field. Their center fielder made a diving catch, and you're like, well, it's just not our day. We've given it away, and they're going to finish taking it. And then Luke had a great at bat, finds his way on. McHugh hits one off the wall in right field. We got first and third, and or second and third. He had a double to right. We got second and third. Kind of wondering whether we should have sent Nixon. Ended up being a great decision not risk out at the plate. And Ty Head comes up and walks it off with a single in the center field. We beat him 7-6. And Adam, I know we were texting, me, you, and Wesley during the game. After we won game 1 and 2 and then took a 5-1 lead to the ninth, how crushed would it have been not to get the sweep?
Well, like I was telling y'all, I was watching the up at the top, where they on the ESPN app where they have the teams and they got your record and your ACC record, and I was looking at that, and it was literally, like you said, 6-5, and I was looking at it, and I think it was maybe when Rhett got on, and I was looking at it, and I was thinking, gosh, that 5-6, or it was we were 5-6, and I was thinking, get to 6-6 sure sounds a whole heck of a lot better than 5-7. So yeah, that would have been crushing. I think Wesley's the one who said it. It felt like all the momentum that we would have had, getting back on track, winning games 1 and 2 would have felt like we would have taken a step back there had we let that one get away from us. So glad we were able to come back and close it out. And even I saw Coach Avent, somebody even asked the question. I think it was Rob asked the question during the post game. Did he think that we needed that win or needed to win a game like that to get back on track or something like that? And he said, he made the comment. He said, I felt like we were already back on track, which I agree with. I mean, I am a homer, but it sure would have been crushing to lose that game in that kind of fashion after winning games 1 and 2 and then being up so big. I mean, I don't know when the last time we would have lost a game with a 4-run lead in the ninth.
Yeah, and to Adam, we've looked so good at times offensively and just so doggone bad at other times and leaving runners on. And I think I talked about when we talked about the Florida State series, we left like 30 runners on in that series. And to have a game where you have 12 hits and Mikey Ryan, who had been kind of struggling, we really weren't podcasting much during the Mikey Ryan slump stage, but he had a huge series. He hits that home run in the 8th, push it from 4-1 to 5-1, and to give that game away to me, I don't really care what Coach Avent said. I think that takes a lot of air out of the balloon if you do that. You needed to actually take as much as the pitching has picked up the offense needed to turn around and pick up that poor bullpen performance that we had after Duden. I mean, hell, we won, and it's great. The thing that really sucked about that game is Jacob Duden not getting a win. You go 7 2/3, 1 earned run, and don't get the win. That kind of probably it sucks for him. But it's so glad that our offense came back and redeemed our bullpen, because it was a merry-go-round there for a little while. We threw Danny Heinz, then Luke Hemrick, then Anderson Nance, and ended with Collins Black. We had to bring Nance back after he threw, I think, 44 pitches on game 1 of the series. So anyway, it was big to get that win. And Notre Dame is a team that, if you listen to D1, they still think has a chance to be a regional team, a tournament team. So to sweep them and, try to – I hope we win more than 15 ACC games, but to get another step toward, 15, which I feel like is kind of the magic number in the ACC, it was big. So, all right, before we talk about Duke,
I would agree.
Let's talk about just a little bit about where the pack stands right now. So we're 6-6 in ACC play, which is perfectly on pace for that 15-15 that we hope we surpass. 22-11 overall. If you look at the ACC standings right now, Georgia Tech's at 12-3, Florida State's at 9-3. Those are first and second. We played both those teams. Went 1-5 against them, but we've played the number 1 and 2 teams in ACC play. UNC's at 11-4. Boston College is at 9-6. And Boston College had a really good chance to win that series in Chapel Hill this weekend and let it slip away. But Boston College is fourth place in the ACC, and that is a series that we won. And at the time, we were kind of griping that we didn't sweep that series, and come to find out, Boston College is actually pretty good. So
yeah,
their coach there has done a great job. But they're 9-6 in ACC play, and then it kind of gets jumbled up. Virginia at 8-7, Wake at 8-7, Miami at 6-6, Pitt at 6-6, State at 6-6. Duke at 7-8, Louisville at 5-7, and Notre Dame fell to 6-9. I'm not going to read the rest of them off, but so if you look at us, we're right in the thick of it. We've played the probable 2 best teams in the ACC. Florida State now certainly has a chink in the armor with Miles Bailey. They lost Miles Bailey for the season in that Duke series that they had, where they won 2 out of 3 over Duke, but. I think we've played the 2 best teams in the ACC, Adam, and Carolina's obviously really good as well. We still have them left, but we've played 33 games now, and I don't think we've had the same lineup in a game yet. I know for a fact through 29 games we had not.
We had 29 unique lineups. Yeah,
had 29 unique lineups. So, and I'm pretty sure we've
tonight was definitely unique too. We had Frazeman at cleanup tonight, and Novi in again.
Yeah, we had Novi in to start the game. We also had Vincent DiCarlo caught for us tonight.
Yeah,
Andrew Wiggins started. I know a lot of folks have been after that. So yeah, it had another unique lineup tonight. So I guess my question is. We'll start the lineup, then we'll talk about the bullpen, because that's one of the things that's on Coach Aviant's heart right now, as you heard Sunday.
Yeah.
But, lineup-wise, Adam, do you think we're getting any closer to settling in?
Oh, man, I don't know. The only thing I think is clear at this point is where we start.
Yeah.
I mean, Mr. Everett Johnson is quite the ball player. I don't know. What was he on base? Was he on 4 times again tonight? 3? At least 3.
4 times again tonight. 2 for 3, 2 balls.
Yeah.
He's an absolute menace. And you know how he got out? He lined out to start the game.
I didn't see it.
I was listening on the radio on the way home from my son's game, and on the radio broadcast, they said that Rhett lines out for the second consecutive pitch, because I think he did it on the first pitch of the game. He lined out to center, which is what he did in the 9th inning against Notre Dame. They were like, he's just a menace. If you want to know how well he's playing, he leads all of. So we can look at overall stats, and we can look at conference only stats. If you look at overall stats, I'm not exactly sure. I think he's 5th in the ACC overall. But obviously, you look at our non-conference schedule, and you look at some other guys' non-conference schedule. I think really the impressive thing is in all ACC games in conference only stats, he leads the ACC. He's hitting .452 in ACC play.
What's the next best? Just out of curiosity.
Now there's a .447. So Rhett was hitting .500, and he had a 50. That's what I texted you boys the other day. There's 50 points between him and second. But yeah, to your point, Adam. I mean, Rhett's he's been unbelievable. He had 2 infield hits tonight.
And he's on.
I don't want to act like he just stung it, but he's just so damn fast.
And have started every ACC game. That we played, and to be batting, I think probably leadoff in all the conference games, right? Was he already at leadoff? I can't remember back that far.
It feels like he was. It feels like he
Feels like he
was.
was. Regardless, he's only got 3 strikeouts in
Yes.
conference play.
Yep.
Which is
9 walks, 558 on base percentage. So to Adam's point, I'll kind of piggyback on that. Yeah, we know that. So we feel like Rhett's definitely going to start every day. I do think that they've kind of settled in at the top of the lineup. I think they like Rhett, Luke, McHugh. One of the big surprises to me is that I kind of felt like, especially when we left Puerto Rico, that Bargo is, just destined to be an everyday guy for us. I still believe in Dalton Bargo. He got injured, but he's missed a few starts in a row now.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's kind of we haven't decided what we're going to do at DH. DH Wiggins tonight. Wiggins came into the night hitting 344. He'd been getting a little bit more action lately, but he goes 0 for 3 tonight, punches out twice, and his first punch out was just not even close. So I guess Rhett, Luke, McHugh feels like our staff.
I think
I've been the. Go ahead, Adam.
No, keep going.
I was going to say I've probably been the leader of the Wyatt Pfeiffer fan club because I just love what he does defensively, and I don't really think he's done anything not to get any extra at bats. But feels like we're pretty sold on Mikey and Sherman on the left side, and that we've kind of decided we're gonna take the good and the bad and the ugly over there and just try and get better. And I'm fine with that, but I feel like that's what we've decided. Would you agree with that?
I do, and we referred to those because similar to the way the selection committee seems to, and D1 and any of the ranking sites don't seem to put a lot of value in the midweek games anyway. So if you look at the conference games, back to Bargo, he's batting 184 in conference, and so that's at the bottom of the guys who had the most starts. So that him and Frazeman, Bargo's 184 and Frazeman's 189 in conference play. So I think that's probably hurting Bargo more than anything at this point.
Yeah, so
Florida State just hit a home run, by the way, in the bottom of the bottom of the eighth. That's 4-3 now.
Is Florida up 4-3 still, or?
Yeah, Florida's beating Florida State 4-3. Yeah, but Florida State just hit a home run.
Got you. So I think if you look at what we've done in conference play, we've had all these different scenarios every time we've had a pod this year. I really think the question mark of who's going to play and not play is now kind of more centered around Wiggins, Frazeman, and Bargo. I think that now it's kind of come to the point. Mikey and Sherman are going to play. Rhett and Tyre, of course, going to play. Drew Lanfear's pretty much called every conference game. And Luke's going to, Luke and Chris are going to play the left side of the infield. And Bargo might play some first base, but McHugh, if that happens, McHugh's going to DH. McHugh's going to play every day. Deservedly so. So I think it's kind of from an offensive perspective. You're Wiggins, Frazeman, and Bargo. Your question marks, and then maybe Pfeiffer or Novi get like a spot start, but kind of seems like it's whittled down to that. Now, if you go to the bullpen, Adam, I still don't think we have an identity of what in the heck we're trying to do, and we're trying to figure it out. I would say that to me that maybe is the bigger concern.
100%. I think it goes back to keep going.
I was going to say, if you look at our offense, teams get hot and cold. We've kind of seen that, where everybody's ready to give up on Frazeman or Mikey and they have a big game, or, Ty was pretty bad for a couple weeks and now he's up to 10 home runs after tonight. It just kind of happens offensively, but bullpen wise, we just it doesn't feel like we really have an identity after Anderson Nance. And Consiglio, and we really haven't decided yet whether Consiglio or Andrews is the Sunday starter. So,
Yeah.
really trying to, I guess, sort the bullpen piece out.
Yeah, I know if Wes was here, he would harp on. I think it just goes back to, I mean, the freaking non-conference schedule that we played too. Just not getting a lot of enough of those guys in any type of leverage situations to learn more about them. Really, I mean, yeah, I mean, Garino, come in with some experience and as and watching him, I believe he can be a piece for us.
Garino, yeah, I think
But
the last
man,
2 outings from Garino, I've been pretty impressed.
yeah. So doesn't throw it hard, but locates the ball well. Seems like and I like his. I don't know if you saw him talking about it on the broadcast tonight. I hadn't never really paid attention to it, but how he holds a holds the ball in his glove. You notice that?
Yeah, yeah.
That's
I
that's
did.
that's that's pretty interesting. But yeah, I mean, I think it's well, we feel like we got a lot of pieces there and a lot of young pieces. We hadn't seen some of these young guys in many ACC games, but hopefully there's an opportunity for some of those guys to get a look, and hopefully as we get deeper into the season and into the postseason, we can find a couple of those pieces that can click for us too.
And you talk about figuring the bullpen out, Adam. When we left Puerto Rico, I mean the best teams we played were in the midweek after Puerto Rico, and we were
Yeah,
starting Heath Andrews. So like, and Heath was pitching great. He was going out throwing 5 or 6 innings. So we still weren't like, when we played Coastal, it wasn't like, tonight we threw Hemrick and Harris and Kitchens and Garino, and then finished with Nance and Consiglio, who are proven pieces. We didn't do that against Coastal. I think we ran Andrews out there 5 or 6 innings. I think Collins Black pitched in the back end of that, but we didn't get a lot of high leverage innings, and now we're kind of sitting here with, what does the bullpen look like? Me personally, Adam, and I'm kind of wondering, like, after tonight, Hemrick only went 2 innings and threw 35 pitches, and after we threw him, I think, to a batter on Sunday, I would kind of like to see Luke Hemrick on a weekend out of the pen. I don't know if they don't feel good, with him out of the pen because he's started 5 out of 9 appearances, but are now 6 out of 10. But opponents
well,
hit
he's.
137 against Hemrick.
Yeah, I was looking at. He's faced 2 batters and made 2 appearances and faced 2 batters in ACC play and given up 2 hit. Oh well, sorry, 1 hit, 2 earned runs. So I hadn't recorded an out yet, but yeah, to your point, he's a guy that just seeing. Was it what? That was a Coastal game, right? He pitched. He pitched in the Coastal game too, right?
I'm not sure
I
if he
can't
came in the
remember.
Coastal game or not, but I know that
Yeah.
Hemrick's
Anyway,
hit.
a couple of those outings, he has looked good, and yeah, he's a guy that I feel like hopefully we can get him some looks on the weekend. To your point,
And when he came in to face the lefty on Sunday against Notre Dame, I mean, he gave up a hit, and that run ended up scoring, and that earned run goes against him. But he absolutely sawed that guy off. He made a great pitch. Guy sawed one off in the center field, and then he got the quick hook because it was kind of a lefty on lefty matchup situation. But I mean, when guys are hitting a 104 off of you, I'd like to see a little more of him. And I think too with Sam Harris is interesting to me. He throws a ton of breaking balls, but he throws a curveball and a slider. He doesn't throw 90. He might touch 90, but he's normally 87 to 89. Which Garino's the same way. Garino's
yeah,
like 80,
he touched
89,
90
90.
tonight.
Yeah, 89, 90 with the
Yep.
fastball. And then you got Kitchens, who kind of tends to he's kind of got shuffled to the back on, I don't know if they're worried about their ability to throw strikes at the moment or what, but, Kitchens is 94, 95. Truett Manuel's kind of, disappeared. Haven't seen him in a while. So, I guess we're in full agreement with Coach Avent. We're trying to figure out the bullpen. You feel like in an ACC series, Ryan's going to go out and he's going to throw 5 innings on a bad night, 8 innings on a great night. Probably same with Duden. So how do you go about, finishing ball games? You got to have more than just Anderson Nance. I said Sunday, I didn't even think it was fair to have to run him back out there after he threw 44 pitches. And I'm sure he said he could do it. And I think, Coach Avent said Consiglio said he could go on Sunday as well. But Nance, to me, kind of seems like a guy that doesn't bounce back very well. Like when he throws 40 or 50 pitches, he's not like, you remember Schaffner last year. That dude could throw every day. Like, he'd be 95 on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. McDuffie from Carolina, did you see that this weekend? He threw 82 pitches, threw in all 3 games, and the fastest fastball he threw was his last pitch on Sunday or Saturday. So,
Wow.
some guys can do that. Some guys can't do that. I kind of feel like it's a hard ask to get 2 35 pitch outings out of Nance in a weekend. So, we're going to have somebody else step up in the bullpen. We're kind of trying some things. We tried Heinz, Blackstone, some high leverage innings. So, I think that's the question mark that we'll keep working away, keep whittling away at. Anything to add there, Adam?
No, I think you're right. I'm confident that we'll get it worked out. Like you said, we've having the Florida State and Georgia Tech series behind us now. We just need to start stacking up some series wins.
Yep. So this weekend we have Duke, which is a winnable series. That's a series we're going to be favored in at home. Duke's a really, really scrappy team. They're 7-8 in the conference, but they won 2 out of 3 over Louisville this weekend. They won 1 out of 3 at Florida State. I think they won 1 out of 3 versus Virginia Tech, and also who was the other opponent? Oh, Notre Dame. They only got 1 out of 3 over Notre Dame at home, and then they won 2 out of 3 at Miami and beat Miami 20-10 the last game of that series. That series was at home too, the Miami series. So anyway, Duke's 7-8. They're halfway through conference play. The thing that really jumps out to me on paper is that they've stolen 115 bases in their 34 games. So they have to run every time they get on. Another interesting thing about Duke is they strike out an astronomical amount. They've struck out now 308 times. If you look in conference play, Duke leads all teams in the ACC with 162 strikeouts. To counter that, NC State, has been the last several years, State is dead last in the ACC in strikeouts. We've only struck out 81 times.
Only struck out 183 times on the year.
On the year, yeah.
Yeah.
So we're talking about, like 130.
Versus, we've struck out 329.
Yeah. So we're striking out 5 or 6 times less a game than Duke is. So, you feel like with Marrone and Duden, who have the propensity to go out there and punch guys out double digits, that's favorable. But you got to keep them guys off the bases because, my goodness, when they get on, it doesn't look like they stop running. They lead the ACC in stolen bases. They lead the ACC in conference play in stolen bases.
How many is that? How many do they have in conference play? Because we have 11 in 12 games.
They've got 29 in 15 games.
Okay.
So about 2 a game. But they also, they've attempted 38. So it's not like getting thrown out a little bit kind of deters them. I think Mascara, who's the coach there, he's getting a lot of praise. He's done a really good job for them. But
yeah, he had to put a whole team together.
Yeah, because Pollard took the studs with him to Virginia.
Yeah, exactly.
They had AJ Gracia last year. He's projected first-round draft pick, and He was one of the big names that left, and then they brought in Cider Cannon, who was hitting 452 in the first 14 games with 6 home runs, and I think he's out 8 weeks. So the best player he brings in gets hurt pretty early, and they just keep kind of plugging along. My buddy Perkins will probably listen to this and criticize their coverage of Duke. He says Duke can't hit, but Duke's hitting 286, and they've hit 48 home runs, which is more than we've hit. I think they've hit 21 in conference play.
Wow.
They've hit 21 in conference play.
46.
Yeah, we've only hit 8.
Well, no, we hit 3 tonight.
So we've hit 49 overall, but only 8 in conference play, which is dead last in the ACC, by the way. Not very NC State of us, but you feel like ours are coming, but we've kind of had, when you look at the top and Georgia Tech's at 31, you look at the bottom and we're at 8. That number's a little concerning. So, and with Duke, hitting 21, and they talk about the Doak stream. You don't want to get in a game where our bats go to sleep and Duke, get a couple balls up in the air and you lose a 4-2 ball game or something. We still haven't scored more than 7 runs in an ACC game either. That's
concerning. Yeah, you talk about the power, and we've talked about this the last couple of years. Needing to find some, especially after Pennington and AMAC, trying to find some more power, but consistently in the lineup. But you look so far in ACC play, Chris McHugh, Braden Fraseman, Dalton Bargo, Brandon Novey doesn't have many at bats, but another power guy. No home runs from any of those guys. And you look at Luke Nixon has been our biggest source of power. He's leading the team in home runs and RBIs in conference play. So
yeah,
nothing against Luke, but that's not what you want from your when you
second
got
baseman.
You're from your second baseman to be leading your home in home runs. So
yeah, so we're not quite averaging 5 runs a game in ACC play. They're averaging around 6.5. So should be a good series. I do think for us it might open up some opportunity for us on the base pass. We face so many lefties. Duke starts 3 righties and started 3 righties this past weekend. Peter Lemke, I think, is their Friday guy. He is a Division III transfer for them, and
wow.
He has a pretty good numbers. He's got a 3.03 ERA. Now that start he made Friday was his first start of the year. They also started another righty, Aiden Weaver, 4.22 ERA, and Andy Leon, who has a 5.57 ERA. But all 3 of those are right-handers. Weaver's been at Duke. You've heard that name before, but Lemke is a Division III transfer, and Andy is a Columbia transfer. So, I think we have been a little bit hesitant on the base pass against lefties. We've actually got picked off a couple of times on, going first movement, and I see people on the message boards losing their mind, which, that's kind of how you swipe bags on left-handers, but we've got burned trying it a few times. So I think it'll be a good matchup. I kind of tend to lean that it could be a little bit more offensive than people expect as it gets warmer and Duke taking mule hacks, but I hope it's a little more offensive than us, and that for us, and that Marone and Duden can really, really go out and win us the series before we go into Game 3. Consiglio was really good again. I'm not telling him, but I think, Adam, that when you look at Duden, the 117 pitches and the 115 pitches back to back, you hope that as we get into the what I consider the stretch run, that he holds up. That's a lot of pitches, and part of that is the pressure I feel like the bullpen's putting on us. Is us trying to get everything we can out of our starters. I heard this morning on D1 that Tate McKee for Georgia Tech, who's their Friday guy, threw 4 innings on Friday because they were up 16-0. It would be nice to go put up some runs and maybe not
and get the other guys some work. Yeah.
So
yeah, amen.
Anyway, anything else to note before we play the song?
I don't
Any
think
fun
so. I'm
facts?
oh no. Uh we'll have to wait Wes to get back. We're gonna start a new series on the show on the pod,
Yeah.
where we tell the best thing we saw on the internet this week. So we'll put it on pressure to Wes to come up with his. I already got mine in mind for the one that I saw, but I'll go ahead and say the one I saw actually that I was gonna say whenever the pod came back out of retirement was it was a clip. It was an interview. It was an interview, and it was kind of funny because we talk about, you know, Coach A being locked in on the lineup or on, guys playing, and he obviously's earned that right, and he knows way more about what's going on than we do, and we're just, kind of armchair quarterbacking things from time to time. But that's what fans are supposed to do, right? But there was a clip. There was an old interview that kind of resurfaced. It was of Andrew Jones. He was talking about Bobby Cox, and he didn't. And at the time, Andrew Jones was I forgot how many time Gold Glove, but was the best defensive player for the Braves, starting center fielder, obviously. But he he misjudged a fly ball off the bat and didn't hustle off the bat in, and the ball dropped in front of him, and Bobby Cox pulled him during the inning.
Yes.
He subbed for him during the inning and benched him, and I just thought that was pretty awesome, and in today's world, certainly not in college even, but in professionals, I just feel like that is just so unheard of. A guy just really shows his butt, and he might get benched the next game or something, but not pulled in the freaking same inning. So
In the
that
big
was that
leagues.
was in the big leagues, as you're arguably the best, probably center, at least the best defensive center fielder probably
Of
at the
his
time.
generation. Maybe of his
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
of his generation.
Yeah, definitely playing at the time. So
After Ken
that
Griffey
was pretty
Jr.
pretty
began to
cool.
get injured, I don't know if there was anybody better than Andrew Jones for a nice
Yeah.
long run there.
But anyway, we talked about, we were going to say, I say we talked about it. I said we should talk about it. Start a new segment where we say best thing we saw on the internet this week. So that was a
Well,
good little clip of Andrew Jones there.
I'll have something for you next time. I had something
There you
this
go.
week, but it's not appropriate. I'll just let I don't want to say it, but I'll let you know what it was. I know Adam has seen it. It would be the three coaches down in Baton Rouge. Uh, Someone
Oh
asked,
gosh, yeah.
God, I thought that was great. So you go look that up on X. The three coaches they need a name for the three coaches down in Baton Rouge, with that collection of characters they have coaching football, men's basketball, and women's basketball. So go look that up, and I won't
Yeah,
say it. Won't say it on the airwaves, but I thought it was pretty funny.
that was
All
good.
right. Well,
All right.
we're gonna find Wesley, um, and we're
Make
gonna bring
sure he
him
don't
back.
make sure he's not calling Baton Rouge.
Yeah, I know. I was wondering if he's entering the portal.
He was such a big Will Wade guy, Gosh,
I know. Broke my man's heart.
my man's just crushed. He's in a pile on the couch right now. Still,
Don't know what to do.
he's back working on his fitness. He's not drinking as much.
He's
It's
trying to
just
get in
been
better
just
shape.
yeah. It's just been real life altering for him. But hey,
High
we're
stress.
we're Team Gainey now. We're Team Gainey. We're over to Will Wade there. I kind of agree with the Medios. They went in there and ripped the damn Will Wade Avenue sign off the wall. Did you see that?
I didn't, but I love it.
Yeah. You know how they got the signs up there, of the
Yeah.
past coaches. They went up there. They tweeted out the video, them ripping it off the booth. So that was pretty good. So
What a schmuck.
anyway, give Wesley another few days. He'll be back. He'll be over it.
Yeah, and I think, are you going to the games this weekend? I know I'm going
I'm
Friday,
going.
Adam.
I'm going Friday. Yeah, I'm going
All right,
Friday.
I'll see you out there Friday. So if any of y'all are out at the game against Duke Friday night, maybe you'll run into us. But look forward to seeing you there, and let's get the ball rolling mid-season. We got to start climbing into RPI.
Sounds
See
good.
you
Yep.
Sunday, and we're going to all but promise to have Wesley back.
Resurrect Wesley this Sunday.
Yeah, it's hurting our numbers when he's not here. So we'll get him back. Go Pack.
Go Pack.